next, but I'm going to start. All right, let's see what that does. What, my heart? No, I'm kidding.
Mason's got all the evidence for tonight.
All right, so now that we have 2 out of the 3 cameras that are out, I just want to kind of put a forewarning out there. So Cole and Mason, we are going to be in certain spaces where there's going to be parked cars and people walking through. People don't like their cars to be filmed, nor do they want to be filmed themselves. So we're not going to be YouTubers and watching somebody walk through some of our spaces, or are we going to be staying put on somebody else's vehicle? If I do like an Andy's Coming, kind of from Toy Story, you're playing with a cell phone and you're going to point yours directly at the ground for me.
Right.
Again, we're not here to upset any locals. So. This is the neuralizer. You're stealing all my jokes now. This is the neuralizer for Men in Black. None of you are going to remember anything by the time we're done. So Mason, watching your camera. How cool is that? So the reason why we're using lasers tonight is because through Mason's camera, this thing lights up like a Christmas tree. You can't see the lasers from the pen to the ground, but you can see it when something actually passes through it. That's the whole point of why we're looking through this. We're looking for motion. We're going to be using 2 different styles of lasers. We're going to be using the green circles and the red squares. The red squares, if we capture something right here, then I'll be able to put it in 3D software and give you a full 3D view of what we caught along with measurements. Now, I've had this guy for about a year. The software hasn't been able to take the blurry photographs I've been able to find, but hopefully tonight is our night. So, I lost your name, sweetheart.
Allison.
Allison. Because you two were already holding hands, you two have to work together. Now, lasers stay on the ground. So make sure when you're pointing them, like this one has a little button you have to hold to keep it on. So find the button here on the side.
I'm going to switch hands. This is my better hand. Okay.
And you want to keep the circle almost like touching your toes. Maybe raise it up a little bit so we can actually have a little bit of a grid. Perfect. Now this one, go ahead and release that. This one has a toggle switch. So let me make sure we're on the right end. We want to make sure it's pointed down. The toggle switch keeps it on, so you have to watch where you point it. So it won't go off until you flick the switch.
Okay, got it.
Do you mind if I take pictures?
I got it.
Do you have a donation?
I was like,
let's get into spirit boxes.
Get a flick.
So spirit boxes. Everybody's perked up with that word, didn't they?
Allison! I'm sorry, it's little.
Actually, she has 2 jobs.
Fair enough.
So spirit boxes are a way for us to communicate with the Jen. So we're going to be using several different types of spirit boxes tonight. They all do something a little bit different than the other ones. So on your TV shows and your YouTube videos, this is where basically it's going to sweep through the white noise. And you guys are going to, obviously give you the voice that they think they heard in the middle of it, normally growl that you can't make out for yourself. But we're going to be doing that in real time with a different method. This thing is slowed down on purpose. It's going to sweep through the FM radio stations at a slow rate. Well, slow for me, fast for whoever's listening to it because you've never done this before. I want the radio chatter to come through. So Izzy or Isabel?
It doesn't matter. Same thing.
Somebody called you Izzy earlier.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. So in the event you hear a music, like song lyric, DJ, commercial, I want to know what they're saying. If you heard buy a Kia today and welcome to Charleston, I want to know that you heard buy a Kia today and welcome to Charleston. The word welcome and the word buy might actually mean something to our location. So again, it's all about what you're actually capturing out of this. So again, the cool thing about your particular spirit box is you're going to be the only one to hear it in real time, but yours is recording. Everybody gets this recording back tomorrow morning, and I will spot check it with giving you 15 to 25 more markers depending on how much is actually going on inside there. Not to mention, I'll be writing down everything she hears in real time. So in the event that it's relevant, I'll obviously be able to give you the link to be able to verify that information. Your earwax is gross. You get to keep these. So under your twist tie, your volume button is right here where my finger is. I'm just making sure it's all the way down. Just try not to hit the button next to it. I'm going to shut it off, and then I'm going to splice the audio together.
I get the fun tool.
Starts with an S.
Actually, I'm going to try something a little different.
Oh, okay. You like different.
Tyler, was it?
Yeah.
What I was trying was if I got the guy's name right, I was going to go with the guy this time.
Perfect.
Now, yours is not going to record because giving you guys 4 hours worth of white noise is just way too much to handle.
Yeah.
So I got to rely on you in real time of whatever you're hearing to be able to write it down. Again, your earwax is also gross, so I don't want these back. Your volume button is the wheel. So I'm going to make sure it's turned all the way down. So get an earbud in your ear and get used to how that volume
write
works.
down whatever I hear?
No, I'll write it down.
Oh, okay.
Just say what.
I'll say whatever. Alright, cool, bet. We're important, guys.
We are
You
investigators.
got a good job right now. You gotta listen.
We're the real.
So you're going to
Team Low
find out
Country
because
Research
there's 10
Expedition.
people here. So with 10 people here, you're going to see with each location, I'm going to be bouncing around all of you to see what's going on with your devices. So that way, like when I'm giving you the history, kind of hang on to what you're hearing if you are listening in, and then kind of let me know afterwards. Otherwise, as I'm telling all of this history, we're going to be out here till like 4 in the morning, and I don't think anybody really wants to go ghost hunting for 6 hours. So 7 hours actually. But
I think what's
so
more
yeah, I
sleep.
will always be
I would
coming
expect.
to her like, what are you hearing? What are you getting out of this? So good question. So the next spirit box we don't actually have to listen to. This one works a lot differently. This one gives us words in the center of the screen from time to time. It's going to save all of these words to a list. So that list has timestamps on it. It helps me find out like where I need to listen to spirit boxes, where to watch video, so forth and so on. This is a phone app. This thing has 36,000 terms and phrases in it, which means 80% of it is going to be garbage, right? It's meant to try to scare us. That's the whole point of this thing. However, I love this guy because the other 20% is where it's actually going to be legit evidence because of our location of where we are. So I'm going to give you guys the full word list, whether it's garbage or not, so that way you guys can see everything that the original person saw as they were kind of going through this. So
They're not fly. But then I can't see him. Okay, I'm sorry. Is that obnoxious? I'm sorry.
I
little
have
bit.
epilepsy, so the flashing is a little much. It's okay. You're perfectly fine.
I'm so sorry.
Again, it's not a big deal.
Okay.
So,
Okay, I just don't know how to use the phone at night. That's what, now I know.
you're going to use this phone tonight.
Oh, no, okay. Is this the easiest one? Because that's what
You don't have to do anything.
Perfect.
It's about as easy as it comes.
Okay.
That's fair. I didn't have this skill.
Yeah, I feel like it's
I
better.
do want to picture you guys with your devices,
Alright.
but I know not to.
So this spirit box, guys, so this one is going to flip through the FM and AM radio stations at the same time. And it's going to try to omit all of the white noise that Izzy and Tyler are listening to. So again, hopefully it's only going to give you words, but I know that's not going to happen. This is only going to give you about 10 to 12 things you can actually make out for our 2-hour time frame together. 75% of what comes out of the sky is normally accurate to our space. So the only thing you can do is
Oh yeah, good.
so blinking lights are at the top. On the right hand side, there's only one button. That's the mute button. I have it muted now, so I can kind of get to the rest of these devices. I'll let you know when it's safe to unmute. Let's see. Last spirit box. Only 2 noisemakers in the same party. Alright, so you get this one.
Oh, yeah.
So yours is not as it's so loud out here tonight. Super loud out here. So your spirit box is open air. The earbuds don't really work with this because it's not powerful enough. So I attached a ball speaker to it. The volume is on the speaker, right hand side. So there's a little screen right here. That's how you know it's upright. You just have to hold that little dial up and you'll start to get volume after like a few seconds. See how it's starting to come through? So again, you'll roll it down as I'm kind of talking to the group as a whole.
Okay, so you'll tell me when to.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely give you the cue. All right, that is all the spirit boxes we have. So let's move on. So you guys have probably seen these on television, right? These are pretty much a staple. So we kind of have to have these, to debunk things. What I mean by that, I want to see if something's not a ghost. So I normally use this guy because it has a little wattage on it. They use them on TV because they're a little sensitive. So with that said, this guy is going to measure anything from parking meters, electrical wiring, cell phones, that kind of thing. So the whole point of these is that ghosts can actually interrupt an electromagnetic field. So if we have any kind of disturbance in colors that show up on the sky, it's a possibility we have something going on, but with this one, it's more than likely it's a disturbance from a building or a parking meter. So the other thing you're going to be doing with Sammy is you're going to have 2 jobs. You're going to be taking pictures for us because obviously Laura's taking pictures as well. So now your camera that I'm handing you, I don't normally hand this to teenagers because they don't know what to do with this guy. It's a full digital camera. Yeah. So the other thing about the camera is that, oh my God, Friday night. there's no flash on this on purpose, not because I have seizures, but we don't want any false positives. So again, if you're taking pictures and there's like flashes coming off of vehicles and things like that, I don't want a false positive to try to debunk them just coming from the flash here. So when you're taking photos, be very, very still. Otherwise, they're all going to be blurry. So your shoot button is obviously the big one. If it shuts off where you can't see any numbers or anything on the screen, the power button is right next to it. So this one you just hold, and then this one obviously you have to power.
I'm scared where we're gonna go.
Yep.
I'm scared too.
It's got a little bit of a grain to it. So last
I'm not.
device,
So I'm
right?
3D scanning what you're doing.
So this one is a multifunction device. This one's super important as well. You're in it, but it's digital. A lot more accurate. Goes way higher than the 25 that Amy has. So again, anything above 2.5 on your big numbers, I want to know what's going on. The bottom number is ambient temperature. We'll find something on his camera. You and I can debunk it with the yellow probe that's at the top. So again, we'll either prove it or debunk it pretty quickly. The last thing that this has, it has a motion sensor on it. So in the event that something gets close to the antenna that I just pulled out, it's going to go off. I am not touching it right now, just so you guys know. The closer you get, obviously a higher pitch, different colors. So I'm going to shut that part off for now. So that way you can kind of get used to how the numbers read on the red screen there for you. I'll show you more about that motion sensor.
Like David Dobrik right now.
You do look like David Dobrik.
Hey guys, today.
Everybody's all geared up.
It's gonna show up on the vlog tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
It's gonna be. No,
So,
good footage.
all right, guys, go have fun. Cole's in charge. No, okay, go.
Cool.
I'll follow
Alright,
Cole.
so what we're gonna
That's
do
right.
is we're gonna go and we're gonna go back to the nearest
I'll follow
McDonald's
Cole to the
and
end.
get some bussin' Coke ices.
Sounds good to me.
That's
There we
what-
go.
What about still an infrared? I'm
Is our
like,
comic relief for the night?
Cole will help us when we're scared.
I like that.
So let's talk about why we started here. Oh, that got quiet real
Oh,
fast.
that's
Oh.
Look at that.
We're like,
You're
it's
telling stories, right?
starts.
So,
They're in the trees.
Big John's behind me. There's a reason why we're here.
Oh.
So, Big John's was named after a football player. His name was Big John Kennedy. Imagine that. They named it Big John's, or he named it Big John's after himself. He played for the 1947 New York Giants. Whenever I'm giving you the history of a location, I will always do my best to slow down on specific keywords. We have 6 spirit boxes working tonight. 6. I slow down on those keywords because of those spirit boxes. For example, the keywords here would be 47, New York, and Giants, and anything relatable to a bar. So here's what happened here. Big John used to sit in the back of the bar and tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, 2 guys come in, they're not old enough to drink. John has the bartender throw them out and they leave pretty angry. The next night they come back and try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John sees what's going on, he slams down his beer, and he goes over and starts beating the hell out of these guys, just pounding them right into the floor. A couple of gunshots go off. John gets shot in the neck, but the bullet lands behind him in the neck, or in the wall. So, again, he's got a graze on his neck, and the bullet's in the wall. John gets up. He's the only one that's been shot, by the way. He goes back to the bar, tells the bartender to get him another beer, get the 2 guys on the floor in ambulance. Now, normally if I tell you a building's haunted, everybody's mind automatically goes to some tragic death that actually occurred here. What's haunting this place is the bullet hole. It's allegedly still here. Even if this new renovation of Big John's filled in that bullet hole, that means Big John's blood is still here. People that sit in the front of this bar, and this is not a joke because this is what I hear from my guests that go there to eat after they come before they come see me, they get a little queasy, nauseous, headache if they're sitting in the front of this bar. This is your key warning. Like, fingers crossed, we're going to be dealing with some paranormal activity tonight, and I have no idea how it's going to affect any of you.
Okay.
If anybody feels any of those symptoms, I need to know immediately. Like, it's a very big deal. So again, we're going to kind of move on just because, again, I got, you know, obviously somebody's a little worried about it. Sorry, I have to put it out there. It's not like some kind of trick. People have passed out from this story.
I make it 3, guys.
Yeah.
I make it 3 tonight.
We don't got you. We got a nice large group. You'll be okay. So, let's
got
get
it,
our
Cole.
minds
Come
off
on.
of that, right?
We got you.
Big earthquake here in 1886. If you didn't already know that from another history story here in Charleston, now you do. So, this is allegedly where the first death occurred from that earthquake. The white mansion you see in the middle of the building there also wraps around the front on the busy street side. A piece of it broke off during the earthquake, hit somebody in the back of the head and killed him. And they say you can see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street in the middle of the night. Now, I say apparently and allegedly a lot with that because I don't have any proof. It's just a great segue. So, because of the previous part of that story, right, about Big John and the Keenan Morgan. So I won't bring it up again. So, is everybody ready to go ghost hunting?
Yes.
Yes.
Sure you want to be in charge? He's like, nope, not now.
Yeah.
You'll be okay, buddy. We got you. All right, we're gonna head up this way, guys. Get away from me screaming. Corner. Wow.
I don't know how long Laurie's got me to agree to this. What were the terms and conditions? I was not supposed to read.
Signed the waiver.
I did.
He's like, I didn't
I was like,
read the fine
I didn't read the fine print. You know, like the Apple fine print was like 47 pages. Like, that looks scary.
Oh, what's your...
Welcome to your first stop. So this
Just
is
get
going
a
to be a
swooping
very
angles.
brief stop, just so everybody knows. Notice how my voice obviously went down a little bit because we are next to where we keep the horses for the carriage rides. So they can't hear us, which is part of the reason why we use earbuds for the spirit boxes now. They do not like the white noise. They will kick that metal wall and scare the bejesus out of all of us. So we're gonna make this one nice and short and quick. Again, it's more so I can show 10 people how to use the devices a little bit better. So this is obviously where I told you that we got horses inside, but it's the same red barn that held horses that had delivery horses for milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. Keywords here being delivery, milk, and eggs. That's really the only history I have on purpose because we're going to talk more about your devices. Spirit boxes. What's usually the first question everybody wants to ask a communication device to the dead? Ouija boards, spirit boxes. What's the first question?
Are you here?
Are you real?
Are you here?
Is somebody here?
What do
right?
you want? Are you here?
No.
Usually it's somebody's here.
Sorry.
So,
I did
in
my
the
job.
event that Izzy hears the answer of no, that means somebody's here. So, we are not going to be asking yes and no questions all night long. True paranormal evidence does not come out of yes and no answers, regardless of whatever you're seeing on television. We are going after specific details tonight. So, in a space like this, I would normally tell people that have never used a spirit box before to ask questions you already know the answers to, like, if somebody's here, tell me what color the big red barn is. Obviously, we are looking and listening for the color red. I say looking because Laurie has the word list. So, however, the rest of you are using spirit boxes and that have basically DJs and song lyrics that are going to convey messages back to us. The word red might not be available for the ghost to be able to spit it back to us, but fire truck, blood, heart, those three things are specifically red. I would take that as a good example of an answer. What color is the big red barn? Blood. I'm good with that. However, most of the night, I'm going to require that there is at least two pieces of something going on to be able to verify what's actually happening. Another example. Let's say Laurie's word list gives us the word art. That doesn't mean anything by itself here. Need more names of who has spirit boxes. Chase. And then Chase here is the number 40. So number 40 doesn't really mean anything by itself here either. But Art and 40 together, Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. You see where we're going to have to be putting these clues together all night long and why I'm always constantly going to be taking notes? A lot of these people we're going to be discussing tonight all have the same names. Lots of Charleses and Georges. We need the secondary verifier so we know who the heck we're talking to. That's the whole point of this. So, I think you spirit box teams actually have a much better gist of what's going on with your devices. Let's move on to cameras. So Cole, you're going to try to do two things for us. So you're going to try to keep one of us in view. The reason why is because our skin temperature is going to be the warmest thing out here. It's going to be much easier to see cold spots when we're watching the video later if there's a warmer temperature in the view. The other thing you're going to try to do is keep the sky out of view. The reason why is because the blue dot that's in that, like bouncing around the frame, automatically defaults to the sky because there's no surface. We want to try to keep it on things that are solid. So again, just try your best. Some of these spaces, that's going to be impossible. You're going to be okay, buddy. We got you. Yeah, but nice work through. You're going to be good. All right, so let's talk about lasers and this infrared camera. So point one of your lasers on the ground for me. So when you're filming this, Mason, right?
Yes.
Ah, look at me. I'm getting most of them. All right, so I don't want you pointing the camera down. Literally take 2 steps backwards. Keep the camera nice and level. Now you should have the dots in the ground as well. So literally we're looking for things here, not down this way. So when you're using both of them side by side, go ahead and point the other one down. You don't want to cross the streams. There you go. You got it. Cross the streams. Somebody got my Ghostbuster joke? Come on.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
Look at that. So basically what you just did, you just created 2 giant pyramids. So now we have a much bigger spectrum for something to actually pass through. Does that make more sense now? And make sure you always have an edge touching your toe so that way you know you're in control. You don't want to go too far out. So always turn the red one off before you do anything. So there you go. That way you're not flashing it on a car.
Yeah.
So no pressure, but those things will set off car alarms. No pressure at all. Yeah, I know, right?
Cool. That's kind of cool.
I'm usually last.
Trusting her.
I think the only other piece I need to work with is Greg. So any of yours is super simple. You just gotta let me know what colors you see when you see them. So I have the colors memorized as far as on their K2 meter. So that way I know what numbers to write down. But I do need to work with Greg at the next space. But I do want to get us over to, yes,
Where's the dog button on this?
at the top. I'm right here.
Oh, okay, that one.
And you can undo that twist tie so you can actually be a little bit more comfortable with it. Those of you that have earbuds with your spare boxes, you can give that other earbud to somebody else. So that way you can both listen and kind of verify each other of what you're actually listening to. All right, let's go talk about much deeper history than ponies and football players. Is that fair? All right, let's do this. Let's go up to the next spot. Oh. So when we're going through the building, I'm scared. I was working the laser.
I get great shots of you right now.
The group.
And your lasers.
I'm going to go through every one of them. So last person gave me 500.
Allison, I went, could do your little laser.
Your lasers. Nice. Oh, my camera just restarted.
Oh.
That's something?
Maybe.
Ask him.
Say that. Say, hey. What's his name? Nick? Nick? I believe that's it. I'll tell him afterwards.
Wait, that might be his because it's the red barn. Among us. Red and soft.
I get the first interaction.
No!
It's still recording.
It's still recording. You just restarted the timer.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a beep.
Are you on 2.5 yet, Greg?
No, that's the 0.4.
0.4? Let's jump.
Oh, his name is Nick.
This is our favorite spot.
Are you enjoying your vacation?
We are.
Good deal. You didn't bring us anything to drink?
We didn't know you were going to be here.
Of course you did.
Our
You knew
paranormal
exactly where we were
skills
going to be.
are not that good. Have fun, everybody.
I have a question, Nick.
Yes.
My camera restarted the countdown.
Yes. So
Is that normal?
yes.
Okay.
So with your camera, because it is technically a GoPro, and those files are giant. So basically,
Okay.
what it's doing is it's creating a lot of files for me to splice all together for you.
All right, cool.
Got it.
I have it designed that way so we don't lose footage.
Sweet.
So welcome to a parking lot, guys. Congratulations, you made it. So I know, parking lot, super exciting. But this space actually used to be something, which is exactly why we're here. So this space used to be the Eliza and Charles Pinckney Mansion. They sat in the front of this space. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant and came all the way across, and we are standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. So that's kind of the layout of the land. For you Spirit Box folks out there, all 6 of you, I am not going to be giving you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there with the big red barn. You're going to get the answers from your Spirit Boxes. This will be the first location where I do withhold information purposely, so that way you all have a genuine experience. If I start just spouting things off subliminally, you're going to start hearing the same things I'm repeating back to you. So, let's talk about these people. Eliza and Charles, they had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Charleses, in case you guys lost track. That's why we use the secondary verifiers. The son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. It's a big deal for us, but I hate politics more than everybody here, so we're going to move on. If I don't bring it up, it comes through on a Spirit Box almost. By the way, do we have any readings at all on your device?
I just hit a blink on yellow.
On yellow, so you went up about 10. Have you had any numbers yet?
The ground is really hot
3
here.
or 0.3? 0.3.
The ground's like really, really hot.
Yeah, it's holding on to the sun for the
And
day.
then you guys are cold.
Oh, we're cold compared to the ground?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it is. The ground's like bright yellow.
We're getting kidnapped.
You guys are cold.
That's because it's floating. So notice.
I
legs.
see.
Oh,
His legs. Yeah, my bad.
Gotcha. I'm like, hang on a minute.
Weird.
Settings are a little off. So, where was I? Oh, so the Centers of the Constitution, we're going to talk about Eliza. So Eliza married Charles at a young age according to today's standards, not the colonial times that she came from. So if you're going to ask her how old she was when she got married to Charles, it's not going to be like 12 and 14. okay? Just so you guys know. The only reason I bring this up is because Charles, her husband, was over double her age. So you can ask either age and hopefully we'll get answers. But the reason why she married him is because her father was over in England, because that's where she's from, and he thought he was dying. He's trying to bring all of his kids home one last time, so that way he can see them. She didn't believe he was dying, so instead she gets married. It's 1744. You don't get married for a green card or for citizenship because we're not even a country yet. Now, she was correct. Her father did not die right away, and instead he starts sending her gifts to this space. One of those gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. You guys have been in town for at least an hour or so that I know of. You've seen the word indigo somewhere, I promise you. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. So a couple of you actually have it on tonight because that's how we still use it today. And when she got it, she didn't know what to do with it. She had to learn from her slaves how to keep it going. It's not always hot here. So as I told you, Greg, earlier, it does get cold here. So once she had it figured out on how to keep it going, she moves it to another plantation, calls her dad up and says, rice plantations are going downhill. We can make a killing with the indigo. So now we have an international businesswoman during colonial times, which is something absolutely unheard of. That's her business. That's the boring stuff. Let's get into the weird stuff, because that's why you guys are all here, right? So, spirit box. Let's kind of go right down the line here. So I'm going to kind of assign you guys questions, so that way you're not trying to remember everything all at once. I've been doing this the past week, and it seems to be working out. You guys are going to go after like what actually happened to the mansion. It's obviously not here. So ask what happened to the mansion, and if you get an answer, ask when that happened. We're looking for the specific date, or just a year. That would actually work too. So kind of be focused on what happened to the mansion. Next spirit box. Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles. Both Elizas have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. Find out which Eliza we're dealing with by asking her maiden name. So again, hopefully you'll get the answer on your spirit box.
Ask in our minds?
Mind out loud, however you're comfortable with.
Okay.
So again, just depends. Just stay focused on those one or two questions. My next spirit box, where are you at? You're going to go after the children. I already told you there's at least one. So you can ask how many children she had and what their names were. That's it. Reason being is there's a tragedy among those kids, and if we poke the bear, all activity will stop. I promise you that. So again, we'll kind of see what happens. We haven't had much of an EMF reading yet, but again, those would go down to 0 if we were getting activity and we started poking the bear. So Izzy, that would be how many and what their names are. As far as your questions, we're going to see what you can actually remember out of this part, because there's a couple of questions that go with Eliza's death. So you can ask her how old she was when she died, where she's buried, what U.S. president was a pallbearer at her funeral. It's going to go with that. So again, these are questions that I commonly get the answers to, just so you guys know. I'm withholding the answers on purpose. You can't come up to me and say, how old was she when she got married? I'm not going to tell you. You're going to tell me, and then I'm going to verify it for you tomorrow morning. We are going to spread out in this lot. Unfortunately, with a Friday night, we're limited on space because we do not go in between vehicles. We don't film vehicles. You guys get the gist. Stay the heck away from the cars, right? So if some of you want to stay back here, just know that anything dealing with the servants and the slaves, I can't prove any of it because there's no records of these folks. So again, if you're getting answers, it's just that. Just answers that I can't verify.
I hear that,
so, see, you guys are focused in on now too. So, very cool. But again, we're going to spread out. I do need to show Greg a little bit more on how to use that REM pod, so I'm going to keep him behind. Definitely get the lasers out and running. Get those spirit boxes as loud as you can hear them. You just need to unmute yours. You don't have to volume. It's already preset. But yeah, let me show you some more things about your device, and then I'll set you free to kind of help out more. Alright, so you've obviously seen a little bit of movement on there, right? Oh.
I try to show everybody, but I got to stop you.
Yeah, 17 is good. So 17 in a place where there's no electrical anything, like that's a pretty decent number. So I'll explain the rationale of that.
It was right around 5.
Are you near? So we actually have a recording of it.
What's up? No.
Hang out with y'all, so
Whoa. Oh, never mind. It's the ground. I know. It's kind of like a small screen though, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to see anything. And like,
I mean, it'll probably show up tomorrow.
yeah.
we're just gonna say, what year did you see that?
Because your thumb slipped.
It's in the 1700s.
1700s. Yeah. So it's either some common. I got a really cold reading right there on that wall. It's like just 40 minutes. Even though they're way.
Oh, so this is in the radio. It's just like, yeah, okay, I got you.
Easiest way to explain it. Got it.
We also got a word that's
And every once in a while, something will come in. I'm like, I have no idea what that means. And I'm going to have to research it. And it's fine.
so that Thomas was born.
You said 1700s. Yeah. She got married. Find out what
Hello? Just kidding.
Did it again? Oh, it was my thumb. You were right.
Who are the exact kind of people that would get like killed in a horror movie first?
Oh, 100%. Like something would come out of this beeping.
We just laugh at it. They're talking smack about you. You're saying your laser pointing sucks.
Go over to the stump right here.
Stump?
The shoe right here is funky. See it?
Yeah, I see it. Concrete?
Look, see that? It's kind of going crazy. Like low-key.
It is kind of going crazy.
Right? Kind of going nuts over here.
can't really see it because of the light, but I think we're outside of the zone now. Hey, turn them off. Turn them off. You're gonna go next to somebody.
Huh?
You're gonna go next to somebody to turn them off.
Oh.
Because they're gonna.
Oh, no, he was just, it was not of any consequence, and I remember what it was. Yeah.
Okay. Down.
What was it?
I'm gonna switch thumbs.
My back is hurting. I think from walking around so much today in bad shoes.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, so with you guys, you're obviously getting the gist of seeing the lasers out, so you guys picked up on that pretty quickly. So,
Yeah.
and with this guy, it actually picks up orbs. It's like this is a whole new setup that I just upgraded like 3 weeks ago. It's amazing. I've caught orbs at least once a week since I've had that camera. So
Okay. Oh,
wow.
it's been pretty awesome stuff. The
we
lasers are
won't
just
see
kind of
it?
add-on.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
I mean, if
Okay.
you guys want to swap up things within your group too, you can do that. Just make sure they just stay within your group. So again,
Sure.
kind of keep that in mind.
Yeah.
I know the lasers aren't always the most exciting tool that I have because it's not an in-the-moment type find. It's always about
Yeah, like later.
Yeah, it's always about later.
I mean, that'll
So,
be cool tomorrow.
But again, just be careful with the lasers because there is a laser law in Charleston, and I'm the one being arrested, not you.
Okay.
So,
Oh
yeah.
no. Pew, pew, pew.
It's like Star Wars. It's kind of tiring on the thumb.
Huh?
Well, tiring on the
I
thumb.
know, my thumb hurts. Are you going?
That's so you were walking like this. I'm like walking backwards, and I'm like, how am I supposed to follow you in this parking lot?
My bad.
Maybe see more.
I don't think you see it till tomorrow.
It's hard to see stuff.
It might just like have a thing with it, or through a rock. It might be, I don't know.
Nice and slow with those guys.
You're going too fast, buddy.
You guys got 17 seconds.
Wait, hold on. Oh my god.
What's up?
Wait.
I got it 877.
Got him. Got Laurie.
So cool.
How's it going?
Good.
What's going? Have you guys had anything happen?
No, not
Nope.
yet. I
Yeah.
think ours is more of a tomorrow thing.
Yeah, mine isn't doing anything either.
Dang it.
No crazy colors yet?
No. The coldest thing I'm finding are the cars.
Yeah.
I'm not even trying to record those.
Wait.
You ask questions too?
I don't think so, because we don't have the spirit boxes.
I think in order to attract.
Wait. Wait. Oh no, those are lights. Just kidding. Okay, go.
I wasn't seeing it. I was seeing like little flashes, but it was just like a reflection of light.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to be on the side of you.
Oh, sorry, like walking this way.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see both of them.
Well, aren't you supposed to look at it through both?
23.3.
Like this?
It's bright green, the one.
Over here.
I felt like there was something fishy going on over here. Stay there. Wait a couple minutes. Nothing.
Nothing?
Mhm.
All right, so
something.
I think it's awesome.
Right?
All right, so those of you with video cameras, so Cole, go ahead and hit the red square on your screen so you can stop your video and relax your hands. Who's got this one now? Allison?
Yes.
Did I get the name right?
Uh-huh.
Woohoo! So, I want you to choose, I want you to stand on that wall, so that way we're not pointing it directly at somebody's hotel room. I want you to point one of your lasers directly at the wall. Like, just point it straight. Perfect. You're going to hang out there the whole time. You guys got it. Nice and slow movements out of yours. So try to keep it as steady as possible. Really what we're looking for on reviewing the video is something to actually pop through here. Obviously Amy's already kind of like taking pictures, so if something actually pops through, we'll have it double ways. That way we can actually see it each way. So this space, very interesting. Is your camera recording, Paul? Yes, please. If somebody passes through, obviously kill the laser. So if we do get security, that'll pop through. Oh, that's a nice breeze, finally, right? A little humid out tonight. That last space, the last street we actually came over, down East Bay Street, that's where the original Charlestown Wall used to be. So Charleston used to be called Charlestown, the walled city. This is one of the first streets we ever had that you're standing on right now. People used to live here. So it's part of the reason why I brought you here. You guys didn't hear any names specifically. We did get the name Ryan that showed up on the word list. I can't recall a Ryan on the roster of the people that used to live here. But here's what I will tell you is I do get the same names over and over and over again every 6 to 7 weeks. I get the same two names, Benjamin and John. Benjamin and John both lived here in 1801. When I say people live here, I'm not talking like hundreds of people were lining the streets here. I'm talking like 2 to 6 people lived here at a time. In 1801, there was only 5. Ben and John were 2 out of those 5. If we're confused about which John it is, John will give us his last name, which was Johnson. And he's usually show up all in the same night. Benjamin, John, Johnson. All in the same night. So, with that said, we're in week 3, 4 of this loop. Because again, I only hear these things normally about 6 to 7 weeks. It's not me hearing them, it's all of you. I didn't tell you which names you were going to be listening for. I do that on purpose, so that way we can try to figure out what's going on down here. Now, the Belgian blocks you're standing on is part of the reason why I keep getting everything here on a loop. These Belgian blocks are made of granite. They're not supposed to have any kind of electromagnetic charge whatsoever. So Greg, I'm actually going to have you pick a brick and put your device on the brick and see if you get any kind of reading out of it at all. Like just set it right on the ground. So we're going to kind of keep an eye on that for just a minute. Now, at certain times of that loop, I'll get readings all the way up to 12 milligauss from bricks that aren't supposed to have an electromagnetic charge whatsoever.
We got 5 now.
Oh, that's good. So again, this is not the Pinky Mansion site. We're not supposed to have anything above a 1.1. So again, we're at 5. That's a pretty decent reading, especially for a location that's not supposed to have anything in it. Let me know if it goes above 5. Again, another minute. Now, the other interesting thing about this particular location is Freemasons have a Masonic lodge here, hence the name Lodge Alley. We will get terms wrapped around the Freemasons as well. Obviously, the word Freemason, Mason. And we will get the term Illuminati that'll show up in your spirit boxes. Now, first off, who the heck is talking about the Illuminati on the radio? Because that's where we're getting it from. Second reason, why am I only getting it while I'm in this space? Again, I'm not going to go into conspiracy theories with you guys, but the word Illuminati should not be showing up on the radio. Like, it's very uncanny that we actually get it as often as we actually do.
An AM radio source?
FM radio station. So, again, I kind of linger here on purpose just to see. Fallen? Have fallen. Very interesting.
From here?
Yeah, right?
Maybe.
Well, these buildings weren't here. When I
Oh.
say people lived here, this is not where they lived. There were tiny little 1 to 2 room houses here.
Oh.
So that's who lived here. Now, anything higher than 5? Nah, we can go ahead and pick that up. I kind of linger here just for a few minutes so you guys get a better layout of the land. But we are going to go up and go ahead and fill your laser. We are going to go up to that next alley that I told you about with the doctor, just because I'm really curious, because we did get, you guys were talking about Joseph and what happened and that kind of thing, so I'll see if anything else is going to pop up. Just weird that it was still so far away. But I can't take you all the way through that alley because I've actually been booted out. The reason why is because you guys have all the noisemakers and blinky lights and that kind of thing, and it is residential at the end. So again, I still stir things up by talking about this story outside of the alley, but we're going to start seeing a lot more of those other tours I was talking about that actually allows us to go to 20 people. So again, we're just going to stay out of their way. as we exit, both videos are going to stop recording as we exit because we're cutting through a neighborhood to get to the next alley, and we don't record in residential areas, just so you know. So let's head up to Philadelphia Alley, and let's see if we can capture up there. Now, your readings are probably coming steady from the buildings. Again, yours is a little more sensitive, it's just more accurate. So again, I noticed your readings, but with them being on a steady pace like that, that's kind of why they're doing that. So, have you guys heard anything else? No.
Do we stop recording now?
Let's wait till we walk out.
Okay.
That thing loves to capture orbs, and this is a great spot for orbs.
Yeah.
So I caught a handful in this location in the past. So it's all about that media review and finding them the next day.
Yeah.
And they did not pay to get filmed, so the alley behind me. So yeah, you were in the perfect spot. So nope, now it's upside down. So stop your video. Stop it. Flip it to the right side. There you go. There you go. So just try not to look like a YouTuber. Look at you are like a pro at this. Are you recording? Look at you. You are on it. So this is Philadelphia Alley now. That's what we call it because that's what it's called. It used to be called Duelers Alley. It's because this is where one of the locations in Charleston that actually held duels. So like take 10 paces, turn and shoot kind of duels. So we also have a story of one specific doctor that moved down here because we can actually prove that it occurred. Of course, I'm going to tell you the story a little bit differently than other tours because you're ghost hunting. You need different details than just a campfire ghost story. So you guys already know the name of the doctor. His name is Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves down here from Rhode Island. He moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney that's helping her out with all of this cash. So the attorney thinks that the doctor is just after her money. So he tells her to get rid of the doctor. So he comes down to Charleston to prove that he's not just after her money. So as he's coming into town, the coachman set him up to be robbed and killed. It wasn't a very good start to his stay in Charleston. So, somebody walking by, his name is Ralph Isaacs. Do you guys see how large those other groups are now? Yeah, sure. So, you guys appreciate the smaller groups now, sure. But anyway, I'm going to stop on Ralph for a second because Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Ralph Isaacs, Rhode Island. R.I. shows up here all the time. But I just gave you the two main characters of the story. So, we need that secondary verified so we can actually verify who it actually belongs to. Ralph says, dude, you don't want to stay here. He's got a gunman inside. He's going to try to kill you and take all your money. He's like, I got friends at 59 Church Street that you can rent a room from, and you'll be safe and good to go. The doctor takes him up on this offer, and they become friends. The longer the doctor stays here in Charleston, the more his practice starts to take off. So, the number 59 will show up here all the time, just so you guys know. I know where he lives. But the longer he stays here, the more his practice is taking off, and that means Amanda's moving down soon. So, he becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. Every haunted city you will ever go to has a cliched whistling ghost. However, at this location and through the rest of our time together, we will get terms relative to this story. And I'm going to tell you more a little bit about that whistle part at the end. But him and Ralph go see plays together. But they can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. So they actually talk about these plays on the way home. They're talking about a play one night. The doctor thought the new actress in town was fantastic. Ralph, not so much. The argument gets a little heated when Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée back home in Rhode Island. Obviously, they go their separate ways. But Ralph is from here. He goes to his friends at the newspaper. He puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. So, that was weird. So weird. What color was that? Just a green? Wow, okay. We normally don't have that on over here. That's why, like, when you had it on, I'm like, okay, we're going to go with it and see what happens. The fact that you're actually getting colors is odd. Where was I? So the doctor sees the ad and he rebuttals with, let's go down to Duelers Alley. We're going to settle this. Somebody's going to die. So that's how they actually ended up down there. They go down, they take their 10 paces, they turn. The doctor pointed his gun in the air and he shot. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight, which is often what happened at a duel. But Ralph has his one bullet, and he puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. So The doctor drops to the ground, doesn't die, but all his friends pick him up and they carry him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. If you remember, this guy's a doctor. He probably tried to bleed this out himself. So, the campfire part of this story is that as you walk through this alley, you can actually hear the whistles from the doctor. With us being over here listening to spirit boxes, we will get songs that have whistling in it, often at this location. We will also hear the term whistle at this location. So, because I can't take you down there, and I'm going to tell you why in just a moment, I of course invite you to walk down there with your voice recorders from your phones and test the theory out. When I used to take my groups all the way through, I had some whistles I couldn't debunk. Now, I do want to tell you that every local knows this story. So, they all throw a whistle down the alley whenever they're walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street on the other side. I do it every single night. We're going to stop up at that next location. That's our ending point. My garage is right there, which means I have to pass the alley every night, and I throw a whistle down the alley every single night. Just for fun, right? I mean, that's just what we do. I mean, us locals. So, with that said, here's how I got booted out of here. This is the fun part of the story. So, you should be learning. Listen up. This one is where you don't want to get in trouble. So, this alley didn't always go all the way through. So, I used to take my folks all the way through to show them the bricks on the other side. They're actually older than the bricks on the Cumberland Street side. Those bricks on the other side are sun-dried bricks from slave times. Now, basically, those were slave children turning those bricks. They have the full fingerprint swipes in those bricks. Yep, at Boone Hall. Yeah, they're also over there. So there's one over down this alley as well. And everybody wants to put a spirit box or an EMF meter near it to see if they can get activity, and I treat that brick the same way I do a brick. You're not going to get any activity out of that. That kid's not staring at that brick in the afterlife. But one night, November 26th of 2020, my entire team of 10 wanted to see if they were going to get any activity out of that brick. Well, it's outside a gentleman's dining room window of his beautiful mansion. We're not allowed in residential areas. He was not happy with me. So, obviously my daughter thought it was fantastic because Dad's getting yelled at on the tour. Yeah, funny stuff. So the next day was Thanksgiving. I did not have a tour that night because I worked in retail prior to doing this, and I finally took a Thanksgiving off. I'm sure most of you adults can appreciate that. So the next day was November 28th of 2020. I get a phone call from the tourism office asking me to go down halfway or reroute my tour. Obviously a complaint came through. So I rerouted my tour because it's not fair for my 10 to try to go around 20 to 60 investigating a small space. Now, I did not tell my team that night what we were going to be investigating or who, but somebody hears the name Ann on a spirit box. I did not tell them we were going to be investigating Ann Bonnie at the next corner, female pirate. So, we get up there, I told them what I knew. I didn't even believe the story, to be honest with you. I hated telling them a pirate story because I'm a vampire guy through and through. Somebody else hears the number 300 while we're up there. I also don't know what that means, so I need to do the research the next day. We were there on November 28th of 2020. Ann Bonnie's trial for piracy was on November 28th of 1720, the exact 300-year anniversary of the first date that I toured them. These are the uncanny things that I come up with all the time, so I'll kind of take that for what that's worth. Before we leave this space and go find our spots to talk about these crazy pirates, has anybody heard anything or seen anything on their cameras or devices? Yeah, we all saw the cat. Yes. Was the cat warm? That is probably. Yeah, I figured as much. Have you guys heard anything?
It just said like leave.
Oh, so
It's the B meant set up for free.
We're gonna head this way.
It's a bad word. It's the B word.
Oh, interesting. Anybody else hear anything?
Very loudly.
Yeah, it was pretty
Okay,
loud.
yours was awkward. You got anything on yours?
I got awkward and instant.
Awkward incident.
That happens all the time. We're right next to St. Philip's.
Oh.
You're also going to hear terms like Bible, religious, pastor, those kind of things. You're going to get a lot of like biblical verses, stuff like that. But obviously it says the word leave, and I'm going to follow the cue. So we're going to go up to Powder Magazine, and we're going to go talk about pirates. Let's go do this.
I got Blade.
Blade?
Where's she? Is that my what? I was like,
Here.
that was very common.
You just got knee on her fit.
Me?
Yeah. Probably getting shot.
Oh yeah. Because he got shot in the knee.
That's right.
tear it out.
I got June 30th.
That's the date.
Today's
No,
date.
no, I'm saying that's the date he went on trial, wasn't it?
So that was
November 28th. You got anything else? Anything on yours coming up? Word list?
I got Ashland and Total.
Alright. Chase, did you get anything along the way? No? Yours is hard, man. Like, it doesn't give off as much as the other ones do. But again, what comes out of there is super accurate, so that's why I love it so much. So, welcome to the Powder Magazine, everybody. We are going to be discussing that little tiny building over there. The reason I bring this back here is just to stay out of the way of the other tours passing through, because I always give you, obviously, a little bit lengthier of a history than what they're doing. But we are going to explore the space the same way we did the Pinckney Mansion. When we do separate out, those of you with cameras or want to go see the front of the Powder Magazine, you would exit the lot by going straight ahead and making a left and get some footage up there if you'd like, or pictures. Just stay out of the way of the other tours. You can also shine lasers in the front of the Powder Magazine and kind of get some gunpowder.
Oh.
Yeah, old-timey stuff. So let's kind of get into this building because there's a lot going on here. So the little building in the front with the crosses on it, those are not crosses. Those are earthquake bolts. We talked about the Great Earthquake here of 1886 earlier, so that's the reason why those are there. Now, earthquake bolts, just behind those is that they're turnbuckles. In the event that we have another earthquake, which we haven't, you can turn those turnbuckles and it's supposed to straighten the building back up again. It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. So the reason I bring these up is because these are the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston put in because it's the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713. So we are here because Anne Bonny, the female pirate that we're about to start discussing, is actually here at the same time that this building was being constructed. So we talked about those Charlestown walls earlier when we were back at Lodge Alley. That garage back there is where the wall existed. So it went up past the Powder Magazine and started going south behind me towards the battery to lock the gun.
Oh, I'm getting. Oh. Oh, no, never mind. Oh. Let's go in this corner, maybe.
Do it from the middle. Getting a lot of purple again.
What do you got?
Yellow.
Reset.
Zoe, what? How are you feeling about this? I'm perfectly fine. I'm gonna sleep like a baby.
Stop. It's supposed to be touching your toes. Not the dot, not the dot, not the dot.
Stop your ear.
See how much footage you guys actually captured. What's the number say at the top?
This one? Where it's in.
Oh, because it's recording, I won't be able to see it.
Yeah.
I just want to see how much is actually left.
I got a cold spot.
Where?
Out of nowhere. Literally standing right there.
We're in front now? On your left.
Yeah.
I look at that as a date too. It'd be like August 1st.
Is that like a marriage game?
can tell.
I'm gonna pee. I'm thirsty.
I think he's.
Their area code actually showed up. They didn't go here. That's weird.
How old?
An 859 is supposed to be a date.
True.
This is 1690. Don't quote me.
No thanks.
We're done.
That building right there.
We're not doing that.
Yeah. You're not doing that?
I'm not going to the porta potty.
You say you know me.
No, I said I'm not doing that.
No, before that, you didn't say you know me.
Yeah.
Think about your wallet.
What?
Think about your wallet.
Hmm?
Yeah. You think you brought your own wallet?
For what?
Just in case you need to go inside. Don't worry. Almost 11. 2 minutes. Oh, of course.
Where's my mom?
Come over there.
Why? She's sitting there. You look like a creepy lady just sitting there.
I know. My back hurts and my ankles are swollen.
I'm in so much pain.
I can't walk anymore. I'm so glad we drove here.
Yeah. How far of a walk is our car from here? Because I'm dying.
It's not far.
I think the group's all coming together.